Okay, it's 20 years later, and I am of a whole slew of intervening emperors or would-be emperors, people who have fought to gain power only for themselves and who have circumvented any of the real rules for how to nominate a emperor. The Senate has no more power. Everything is about gold, and the Praetorians are basically dictating the rules. Who gets to be emperor? Well, the one who will pay the most. Why do they need Lucilla? And why is she still alive? Well, because she is the daughter of the last legitimate ruler of Rome. And as such, she holds this moral idea. She's a representation, a symbol of a time that was glorious for Rome. It was the golden years, the 80 golden years of the Roman Empire that people in history still talk about. But now those times are over, and she has been basically used as a hostage and kept in chains for the past 20 years. She's heartbroken. She's lost her son, whom she sent away in order to save his life from the Praetorians, who would want to murder him so that they could take power for themselves or choose whomever they would put in the so-called holder place of power. But there's this one beautiful thing in her life, and that is that she is loved by the amazing and very valiant General Acacius, played by Pedro Pascal. And we have some beautiful scenes that show that amazing love story, and that's where we find Lucilla at the outset of the film. I just could not believe it. I walked into a meeting with Ridley in Los Angeles way before we started shooting, and he had not changed, incredibly. Like, he had just not changed, and was so excited about starting this film and excited to show me all of the things that they had prepared. And he was also really, really, really excited that we would be working with Paul Mescal. And it's just been like that throughout. Just like in the first film, it was so interesting to see how Ridley really considers the whole process as something organic that keeps developing. It isn't something that's a closed box that he now has to put on the screen. No, everything is like this plant-like nature of evolving and of growing together. And he really so welcomes ideas. And what if, or wouldn't that be cool if, and what do you think of? And he's just really, really receptive to that. And as an actor, that just gives you like an enormous confidence, because you feel like, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to be received. He doesn't always have to agree. Many times he say, no, that's shit. But you never feel like it's something that's negative or at all. It's about whether it vibes with what he's hearing inside his head. And so he'll keep on encouraging you to come up with something else, or say it differently, and if you hit the spot, then he's like, go for it, and that's fantastic. I felt like I was discovering as much about Lucilla this time as I was 25 years ago. I think that the discovery process is, for me, the most amazing part of acting. I feel like I'm a detective, and I'm going in and I'm starting to build this inner life and this experience and this very specific vibration that that particular individual has when she does anything. And that's one of the things I so love, is the telling of the story by telling it to yourself first. Like, what is this person doing? Why is she doing this? What does she believe in? Who does she pray to? How does she, what does she dream of? There are so many things that goes into building that character. And for me, that was the same this time around. The way that I've changed as an actor is that I no longer worry as much whether a moment is too big. I really, really, really rely on my director to tell me what they need. Whereas before, I wasn't sure if they could be trusted. Now I trust them much more. Where to start? So I'll start with Paul. Paul is just, such a serious and wonderful actor. I sensed immediately that he was holding on to that burden he was carrying for his character. And so it was very important for me from the beginning to be respectful of the burden, of the emotional burden he was carrying. And I did that all the way through. And it was a very lovely sort of knowing process where we knew what the other person was doing, but we never said anything. We just held it. With Pedro, I told him a story about something that I had once seen. And I said, what do you think? Should we play that? And he was just so game, so happening, and so, wildly charismatic. I just don't think that there are enough words to describe the incredible joy it is to be around him. I hope that the audience takes away from I hope that the audience comes away with an experience of having lived inside another era and yet at the same time understand just how close we are to the people in the past. We are so much more like them than unlike them. And while I do think we have evolved many wonderful and important codes of equality in the world, we also, just like in the past, are still making huge mistakes. And as you can see in the film, we all need to just pay attention to the things that matter about our lives and about our society, and